at large. Thank you so much, guys. Those who are joining, my name is Joel Kahindi, and our presenter is Dr. Maina. Without wasting more time, I want to welcome Dr.
Dr.
Maina
Maina
on the
on the
floor.
floor.
Karibu,
Karibu,
Daktari.
Daktari.
Good evening, everybody. I hope you can see my shared screen.
Yes, we
Yes, we
can.
can.
Thank you very much because I'm using file upload sharing. So welcome to our session today. An hour is quite short, so it will be more of informational. But in this session, I'd like to cover 4 areas in brief. One is emerging issues, which have made us to consider core competence. 2 is the paradigm shift. Then the reason why core competencies are going to facilitate deep learning. And the final aspect will be how they make our learners to be connected to the real world. Now, because of that particular time, which is only 60 minutes, it will be more of informational, but I'll try to ask you to participate by sharing some of the activities that we are going to do. So we'll begin with preamble, and just to ask you, how are you doing? Can you give me a number? How are you feeling today? 1 up to 5. If you're feeling very well, give me a 5. If you are feeling ish, you have a 4, a 3, a 2, and a 1 to choose from. And if things are too bad, you can give me a 0. Give me a number in the chat of how you're feeling today. Thank you very much, Felix. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Great, great, great. Always good to know how people are feeling before we start. And I'll tell you, don't worry, be happy. So the session today, we are going to have a discussion and unpack why do we have core competencies in this curriculum that we have. And as in our discussion, we'll have an opportunity to apply some of the competencies. And I won't direct you directly to a particular competencies, but you will realize what you're doing. Then eventually we are going to appreciate the core skills enhancement. Thank you very much for sharing your expectations, because this is the summary I got from your expectations. I got them from the registration form that you formulated. Mostly everybody wants to learn more about CBC, the issue of key competencies and new knowledge, deepening understanding, as well as knowing our rationale. So what I like us to do now is to formulate a key inquiry question, which when it is answered, it will meet our expectation. And in the key inquiry question, make sure you put yourself in the question. So it could be, how do I, or to what extent do I? So make sure you're in the key inquiry question. And when we answer your question, would have met your expectation. So share the question in the chat. Share a key inquiry question. Don't share your expectation. We already have that. But I want you to share a key inquiry question such that when we answer your question, would have met your expectations. And you can formulate the question as, how do I? Thank you very much, Msena. Thank you very much. How do I infuse? Okay. Today we are looking more as the why core skills. So maybe you can relook at your question. We are looking at why. Next session, we'll be looking at how to infuse. These are 3 series sessions. For this one, I'm just looking at the rationale. Why do we need core skills? But you can get a little of how to, although that's not the focus of today. Thank you very much, Msema. I'm waiting for more questions. We are 27. I want a threshold of 33% before I proceed, so that I have a representative sample. Thank you very much, Nora. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nora. Thank you very much, Julius. Thank you very much, Charles. Thank you very much. So those are 4 out of 27. Can I have more? Those are 4. Can I have more? I know people are still typing. Thank you very much, Joel. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Felix. Thank you. That's a nice one. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Kibet. Although that is a closed question, you can say yes or no. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you very much. So the first part we are going to start with is the emerging issue. The core competencies are informed by some general trends which are happening across the world. And the first one is you find that across the world, we have an issue. We talk about SDG 4, where it's talking about ensuring inclusive, equitable, quality education that promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. That is loaded. There's issue of inclusivity, the issue of equity, there's issue of quality, the issue of lifelong learning. But look at the statistics, what we have. It says more than half of the children are not achieving minimum proficiency of reading and writing, meaning that over 60% of our learners are dropping on the way. Think of the classmates you start with in class 1. How many are they still in school, or how many are in removed me from the meeting? Oops. Unfortunately, I was removed from the meeting.
Sorry. Someone removed you, I guess, accidentally.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, let me see if I can regain my pace. Now I can't use the other file sharing. I have to use the other local mode, but it's okay. So we are talking about the issue, the emerging issue. And one of the emerging issue is children, over 60% not meeting the basic, 58% actually. And then 40% of schools have restrooms. And we're talking about equitable access. 41% of schools have ECT. We are talking about 34% of schools only have electricity. And we are talking about more teachers in sub-Saharan Africa. Only 61% of teachers are trained. This is the issue we have now. And if this is the issue we have now, yet we are talking about equitable access, it tells us something. And therefore, I'll pose a question to you all. Share in the chat, why do you think over half of the children and adolescents are not reaching minimum, which is a right for everybody, reading and numeracy and literacy? Just share in your chat, why do you think that is happening? According to you, I'm not looking for the right answer, I'm looking for your perspective. Why do you think that's the case? I'm looking at the chat. Why do you think more than half of our learners are struggling to read and to calculate? Let's do that quickly. Just I'll get 2 responses and I can respond. Joel, if you see a response, just tell me, because it seems like I'm being told I can't send a message. I'm not a member.
Okay, sorry. Someone is, this is Nora. Nora is saying inequality in distribution of resources. Then Hadija is talking of overcrowded classes, especially in public schools. So teachers cannot give individualized attention. Then Nelly is talking of boy-girl relationship. Then Julius Quicha is talking of ignorance from parents and guardians on matters of education. Juma Mishi is talking of schools have so many pupils. Okay, I read that. High enrollment from Nicodemus. Lack of competence in teaching by Osman. Then Few teachers against high population of learners.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Thank you very much, John, for sharing with me. Look at the available facts, which are very, very demeaning, and they make you sad as a teacher. If you look at the world in terms of performance, and you look at our sub-Saharan Africa, look at the number of children who are out of school compared to the world. You can see where we are, and that is what we are globally, if you look at that. So you can see that difference that we have. And if you look at the number, that is primary. This is from 1972 up to 2017. And this is from UNESCO statistics. If you look at the out of school for lower secondary, you can see our numbers compared to the world. We take a fifth, 20,000 out of 100,000. You can see we are still, and then as the world is improving, we are still getting worse. Our out of school children are increasing or are staying at very 20,000 and a half, actually 20 million and above, while if you look at the whole world is 100 million. So these statistics are showing we have high rate of dropouts. And if you look at the trend, people who entered grade 1 and the people who survived, and you can even think of yourself, I was in grade 1, 1973. And if I look at the people who finished or who are at my level of proficiency, we are very few. But we tend to forget because we are in good position, we are working well, but we are the minority. It is the majority who have dropped off and they have no skills of the survival, and now they are becoming a menace in the society, not by their choice, but by their lack of resources and lack of skills. And if you look at across the East Africa or across Sub-Saharan Africa, the dropout rate, if you look at the primary, those are numbers are primary, secondary, and university. Look at the percentages. They are not fair because we start at a very high percent, but the transition rate, as much as we say 100% transition, even if you look at Kenya, we have so many people, at least Kenya, we are doing well. We have at 70.5 at secondary. But when you go to university, it's only 42.32%. Yet, we are talking about equity. And we are saying each child, each human being, each citizen has a right to thrive in the country. So these are the issues which you are thinking about. And even if you look at the transition rate, this is a very hurting element whereby people who went from 1, they were 120, class 1, they are 124%. But by the time they are reaching Form 4, only 48% have survived. By the time you're going to tertiary college, it goes deeper. So we have a lot of wastage in our society. Citizens of Kenya are just left to drop out because of the system design. And clearly, statistics just speak loudly, saying that in sub-Saharan Africa, students who have attended school, they have attended 4 years of school. If you look at our chalk, look at the pencil and look at the chalk, the pencil, the carbon, it shows that they have not spent 4 years in school. In sub-Saharan Africa, we have 40% surviving. The rest are not surviving. Yet, if you compare East Asia, Latin Central Asia, they are doing well. They are also humans like us. We are only beating South and West Asia. So these are emerging issues, and these are statistics about what is happening in the world. And as educators, when you look at that, this is the completion rate. Kenya is the one on the box up there. And we promised that universal primary completion. But look how flipped it is. Only people in the urban are able to complete very well. If you look up there, people in the rural, girls and boys, are still waiting up to 2030 for that to happen. And if you look in terms of wealth, only the rich or the haves are able to do well in the year 2020. But the poor, we are waiting up to 2050 for them to be able to complete school well. These are statistics, very demeaning. Yet we have this issue.
And the regime of extreme pressure testing are giving young children nightmares and leaving them in floods of tears. Teachers are reporting instances of sleeplessness and anxiety and depression, even in primary school children during these exam periods. These excessive exams are not driving up standards, but they're driving up stress, both for children and for teachers. And when the system forces teachers to teach the test, narrowing down the range of learning to core parts of core subjects to get through exams, that's not actually helping pupils. We need to prepare children for life, not just for exams. Tests are bad for children, bad for parents, and bad for teachers. We need a different approach.
And as he's saying that, we have statistics which show that what tests can do to the lives of children in our country. That's a girl who took her life because of exam. That's a boy who committed suicide because after scoring 324, they were forced to repeat. So these are just emerging issues. And you know, the youth are changing. So those are the situations which are changing. Our learners are growing in a different environment, and we need to understand them because the way they learn is different. They were born in an area of a lot of information, and therefore we need to understand the way they interact with information, the way they process information, because that will really help us in the way we interact them. If you look at the job interview, came from the company. They say ability to verbally communicate with person inside and outside of organization. And these are some of the questions that they ask in job interview. If you look at these questions, which ones are we taught in school? Very few. Very few. Just scan and tell me, Joel, you can read for me because I'm not able to read the text. Which one?
Right, so the job interviews, employers rate
don't
of
read
candidates.
This.
Yes.
Just read what people are going to respond. Which one do you think are taught in class, please? Can you share in chat? Which one do you think is taught in class in our learning area?
Right, looks like people are still typing. No response yet.
Get me one or two. People are still reading them so that they internalize, they understand them.
Yeah, Prosper is saying none of the above.
Thank you very Prosper. So
Adijas,
you can see.
Adija is saying ability to work in a team structure.
Okay.
Then Ovin is saying none.
Can you see by design we are failing our learners for life?
None.
Thank you. So we are failing our learners for life. Thank you very much for that. So we are failing our learners for life. And yet, jobs are also changing. There are some jobs which are declining. There are some jobs which are growing. If you look at the jobs which are growing, these are the kind of jobs you will be hearing people asking for: a human organ engineer, artificial intelligence lawyer, gene programmer. So if this is the kind of future we are preparing our learners for, jobs we don't know, problems we don't know, technology we don't know, then we need to repurpose the way we teach them so that we are able to address them in a different way. So there must be a paradigm shift. And this paradigm shift, look at how technology has changed in 120 years. From the tablet, the real tablet was a slate. And now we have a tablet, which is a touch screen. And then look at how learning has evolved over time. Learning has changed. Flipped classroom, flat education, open world, where you get information where you want, collaboration. People work together now. In our time, we are not working together. Students are engaged. In our time, we are not. We are given homework to go and work on your own. You're told to design a project on your own, self-regulated learning. So teaching and learning is changing. We have a lot of OERs, open education resources we can draw information from. We don't just need to use our textbooks. We can go online and learn how to teach. But what is happening to our classes? The teacher is still in front, and we are sitting in rows and columns. Everything else is changing, but we have refused to change. It is this stagnation which is brought the declaration that we need to review education to ensure it is holistic, ambitious, aspirational, and no one is left behind. Second, inclusion and equity has to be the cornerstone of education, ensuring there is no exclusion, marginalization, disparity, inequality, and everybody participates fully. Third, we have to ensure that gender, and gender does not mean boy and girl, it means marginalization. If you're walking to school, I'm driving to school, I have a bag, you don't have a bag, I have new uniform, you don't have new uniform. That is a gender issue. So we need to be able to be equitable. And finally, we need to ensure inclusivity and equitable so that there is long life learning. This is what the declaration which was made, which now informed that we need quality education. Let me just throw to you, what is the difference between education and learning? Joel, you'll read for me responses. What is the difference between education and learning? Joel,
No
any
response
response?
yet.
Okay, I know people are thinking, which is good.
Okay, Adija probably could be responding to the previous question. She says we really need to change as teachers. We should teach the way we were taught. It is high time to give learners an opportunity to create their own knowledge.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
then Felix Malombe is saying learning is what is left when education is done.
Wow, okay.
Then Charles is saying while learning is the change in behavior, education is a lifelong.
Okay.
Ovin, learning is what remains after you have acquired an education. Learning is lifelong. Then Adija, we should not teach the way we were taught. Education is general, learning is specific.
Thank you very much. So this is what I have. Education is what people do to you. Learning is what you do to yourself, according to Joe Aton. And there is more. Education is passive, learning is active. Education is curriculum, learning is curiosity. Education is extrinsic, and learning is intrinsic. Or you can say more that learning is value neutral, education is value led. You want a grade. Learning can be coincidental, education is deliberate. Learning is natural, education is coerced. And learning is internally motivated, education is externally motivated. You can also say further that education generally takes place under guidance of educator. Learning does not require an educator. Education is prompted by extrinsic. This one is intrinsic, as I said before. This is systematic. This is not a systematic process. And the other one is received as a certain age. The other one is a lifelong. Excellent. Just as you said. So we are moving away from education to learning because we want our learners to be lifelong learners. Now, we want to mix knowledge, we want to put together with the values, and we want to put together with competency and skills. So an attitude, so that we can have this learner fully. So what I want you to quickly share in the chat, and Joel, you are going to read, what are kind of the attributes do you want a child who's going through our curriculum to have? Once they have finished our curriculum, what type of a person are they going to be? You describe with one adjective. What kind of a person do you want to have passed through your hands? What will be their disposition, their outlooks, just in one adjective? And Joel, you can read for me what people are writing.
All right, still waiting for responses. Wilberforce is talking of self-reliance, Nora, team player. Osman, learners with values. Adija, communicator. Critical thinker from Tobias, self-reliance. Juma Mishi, independent. Felix Malombe, resilient.
Okay, let's look at what I have and check if I've missed what you said. Just read what is there and let me know if there's anything that you think I missed. Joel will read for me.
Okay, our graduate should be questioning, should have the skill of questioning.
No, Joel, let's just read, just check the chat and see if somebody has said there's something missing here.
All right.
Yeah. Anything missing from the team?
Purity is talking of confidence.
Confidence. Let's think. They thinks for themselves and shows initiative and generates idea. Purity, what do you think about that? Maybe Purity, you can unmute and say something. Purity?
Purity.
Is she able to say something?
Right. Purity could be having a challenge, but I'm seeing Nicodemus is saying problem solving. I'm not sure whether it's...
There is no problem solving here? There's a can-do attitude, curious, creative, shaper.
Competent in skills application by Frida. How about that?
Skills application, there is flexibility, generates idea, thirst for knowledge. Okay.
Felix is saying not at all.
Okay, let's proceed. Thank you. So this is the graduate we want to bring out. And if this is the graduate we want to bring out, then we need to bring the competencies, the core competency which we are thinking out, because we want somebody who can be a creator, somebody who can be a collaborator, somebody who can be a communicator, somebody who can be a problem solver. We want all that. And therefore, KICD has concepts. And in these concepts, they give content for us to teach the concept. And because we are teachers, we contextualize the content given by KICD. We contextualize to fit our context, and then we construct learning experience so that when the learners are going to learn, they're going to conceptualize. And for that to happen, we choose which competency are we we're going to enhance. Is it citizenship, self-efficacy, digital literacy, learning to learn, creativity and innovation, communication and collaboration, critical thinking and problem solving? We use these as mediums of enhancement, and I call enhancement because learners have them, although in different levels. So we enhance them. But the concept and content is already prescribed by KICD. It is us as teachers. We see how we are going to contextualize and create the construction of the learning experience so that the learners can contextualize. And this is what we call deep learning. The reason that the core competencies were brought on board is to enrich the learning experience so that there is deep learning. In learning, we have knowledge, we have values, we have attitude, but we also have competencies. In these competencies, we have basic skills, literacy and numeracy, but we have core skills. And core skills are those skills which are transferable. If you learn problem solving in mathematics, you can answer it in literature. You can use it in geography. You can use it in science. If you learn communication in literature, you can use it in mathematics. You can use it in geography. Those are core skills. Then we have technical skills, which are now specific, like quadratic equation, like genre writing. Those are technical. But we are talking about these core skills, which are transferable. And the reason why they are transferable is because in any lesson we plan, we have to ensure that the national goal is driven or achieved by that. Because if you look at our lesson, it's just like a cake. A cake has all these ingredients, but at the end of the day, you cannot remove the egg from the baked cake. So your lesson, all aspects of your lesson, when they are put together, they should form the cake. But within your lesson, core competency is a key element. We have all these 16 parts of a lesson, but core competency is what is enhanced through the content in a contextual approach so that you can conceptualize. And when I'm talking about core competency, I'm talking about deep learning, and I don't want to go that, but I want to ask you, are excellent results an evidence of deep learning? Joel, can you read the responses? Yes or no? If I get an A+, does it show that I learned deeply?
Okay, Felix saying no. Prosper is also saying no. Sema no. Rachel is saying no. Laura is saying no.
Good.
Charles is saying no.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can give you my history. When I was in primary school, I passed with all A's. But do you know what I did? When I went to the exam, I was remembering what the teacher told me and I was answering that. So I represented my teacher in the exam room. In fact, I should return my primary certificate and they renamed it my teacher's name. So that is what is happening, that we are seeing high-flying grades, but there is no deep learning. Okay, now you have your own test. Use that link, and I can share it in WhatsApp so that the Joel can share it in the chat. But use that link and do your self-assessment. We see what score you're going to get. 3 minutes only. Can you see the link on the shared? Can you see the link?
Yes, I can see the link on your slides.
Yeah, yes. Can we try? I'm going to send you the link in WhatsApp because I cannot chat, and
right.
you can share it. But meanwhile, use the link. I'm sharing it with Joel. Then he can share it in the. Joel, I want to share it in WhatsApp. Sorry, Joel. I don't know if I log out and log in while people are doing the test.
All right, I received the link. Let me share it on.
Yeah, I'll log out and log in again while people are doing that, okay?
Okay. Right, I've shared the link. Just click on it and see what it directs you to. Then react accordingly as instructed by Dr.
3 minutes only so that we can see the scores. Joel, has the link worked for you?
Yes, it's working. Yeah, the link is working. I'm on it right away.
And the test is self-marking. You do. I want to mark for you. It will mark by itself. And it will send the results to your parents. Have we got the results?
Yeah, looks like people are still on it.
Yeah. I think I'm going to proceed because this is a self-assessment. It will give you the results and so this was to help you to understand the difference between deep and what is deep learning and what is shallow learning. And it will show you the answers. I can also share them here, but you'll also get it as you complete that task. But I want to move on so that we understand. When you talk about deep and surface, I'm not introducing anything new because you already know about the Bloom's taxonomy. So deep means high order thinking, and it is those from analysis, evaluate, and create. Anything that you design in your teaching and you ask for those things, then you are going deeper. But if you keep on shallow, it's just remember and understand. That is lower order thinking. So we have to think the way we teach. The reason why we are bringing the competencies is to bring deep and shallow. Remember, when we are doing the definition of education and learning, and if you look at what I'm showing on the screen, it is almost the same, that the surface is education and the deep is learning. And we want to move from surface to deep and go to learning.
Excuse me,
yes?
Doctor, your screen is not showing. It's not visible from my end.
Okay, sorry. Okay, let me just try again, try current and share. Can you see now?
Yeah, it's visible now.
I'm just sharing my screen. I was sharing PowerPoint the other time. But if you look at these two, it's just like the definition of education and learning. Surface is education, deep is learning. So do you want to do deep or do you want to stay surface? Give me an answer in the chat. Joel, can you read how many deep, how many surface?
All right. No response yet.
Oh, that one does not require thinking.
Okay, so responses are kept flowing. Deep.
Thank you. That's the verdict. We need to go deep. And because we want to go deep, remember, we are not ignoring surface, but we are saying don't stick in the surface, go to the deep, move from surface to deep. And therefore, let us look what does the real world say. Joel, read for me what is on the screen. Joel?
Okay, I'm reading from the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say one of you one of your graduates just lands a summer job in their fields of interest. It's their first day on the job, and the supervisor casually asking the student to create an infographic for their Pinterest campaign and to have it ready by morning. The student has never created an infographic before, nor have they used Pinterest for marketing. The student knows, however, that her neighbor is a graphic designer, so reaches out to ask about user-friendly graphic design programs. That student then hops on YouTube to learn how to use the suggested program. She researches optimal pin sizes and explores data for Pinterest best practices and strategies for search optimization. She refines her design through trial and error and eventually lands on something she can be proud to share with her supervisor. This student not only keeps her job, but demonstrates to employers that she has the soft skills and the 21st century competencies that make her an asset to the team. In one task, she demonstrates competence in several 21st century skills, including resourcefulness, communication skills, tech literacy, creativity, problem solving, independence, research skills, and so much more.
There you are. That is a student whose core competencies have been enhanced through the learning. She was able to know, if I don't know in problem solving, I can reach out. She has used digital literacy to search for more information. So this is the kind of students we want. I'm just justifying why we need core skills. Can you read the teacher case study, please, Joy?
When the pandemic hits and you are asked to translate 10 years of in-person lessons to remote learning activities, a concept you'd never imagined possible. Those college courses on learning theory were suddenly irrelevant. Your teaching portfolio with a decade of science experiment ideas attached was suddenly useless. So what did you do? You had to be adaptable. You had to be creative. You had to be tech literate. You had to be a problem solver. You need those skills because not a single college course prepared you for this storm for the century. As you read this story, it is close to home because it was the reality for most of us. You might be saying to yourself, well, the pandemic was unprecedented. It might have been, and it might seem like an extreme example, but the world is always evolving, and it's doing so at rapid pace. It's not a pandemic that makes us stop and ask what our education priorities are. It will be something else.
There you are. So this is a clear indication that the core competencies are not for our learners only. They are also for us. We need to be problem solvers. We need to be creative. We need to be digital literate. We need to have self-efficacy. We need to communicate. We need to collaborate. So as much as we are saying that they are for them, they are also for us as educators. And because of that, our learners need the ability to interact and cooperate. They need to learn with others. So that is one way why communication and collaboration was brought. They need to learn about different perspectives and stimulate creativity and innovation. That's why problem solving and critical thinking comes in, and self-efficacy. They need to have positive experiences of diverse type of people who can influence the way they work. That's why citizenship comes in, because they need to know how other people work, how different cultures work. So for them to be able to survive in real life, this is what you need in life. You need to be analytical. You need to be integrative, mixing this and this to get that. You need to be entrepreneur, and I'm going to unpack entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is not about business. You'll see what I'll do next slide. You need to be collaborative. You can't work alone, but you need to learn these skills in class, not after school. You need to be spatial. You are doing things, not just sitting. I gone to school where everybody's told, sit and listen, watch me. But kids need to do something. You need to be ethical in what you do. You need to be societal, know how to know other people and how you interact with them. You need to be persuasive so that you can get what you want. You need to be environmental conscious, integrate with the resources, electricity, water, wood, and everything. And you need to be global. So life itself, life requires us to have core competencies, and we are preparing the learners for life. Look at what entrepreneurship means according to me. Building something from nothing. It is keep on doing something, taking risks, and that is what we want our learners to do. It's not about business. Entrepreneur is that ability to come up with something new, to try something, to write that assignment, to do that practical, to develop that shamba, to plant that seed. And therefore, we want our learners to have this core competence, communication with others, to know how to solve a problem. We want them to value teamwork. We want them to be able to influence because you are convincing, you are passing information, you want to transform people. We want them to be organized. We want them to be flexible and be risk averse, take risks. We want them to have great work ethics. We want them to have global insights. And finally, we want them to understand numbers. So this is the reason why we will have to integrate core skills during the 18 years they are learning, because there is no any other time from PP1 all the way to grade 12 and up to university. By the time they come to the world of work, they need these skills so that we are able to integrate them. These are core skills which are needed, and they can be divided into 4 ways of thinking: creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, decision making, and learning. Ways of working, communication and collaboration. Tools, information literacy and ICT. Skills for living the world, citizenship, life and career, personal and responsibility. These are things which we need in life because the core competence helps the students connect with the world. They make the learning real. They make them to know what is happening around them. They make them to know how to learn because you give them questions, you tell them prepare this composition, design this activity, so they help them to know how to learn. And in the process, they own the learning and therefore they love learning. And also it becomes relevant to their lives because whatever they are learning, it makes meaning to their life. So, but there are challenges. It's not easy. There are challenges. We need to appreciate every rose has a tone. One is the pace of change. Things are changing so fast. So how do we catch up? 2, the world is becoming more complex. 3, students must apply what they have learned. 4, there's a greater emphasis on collaboration. So how do you bring individual accountability? If Joel and me, we are working together, who marks are you going to give? Technology is changing the way we learn. And finally, learning is no longer about knowledge. So these are the challenges which we are going to face as teachers as we are preparing those learners in this world. But remember, with core skills, we can be able to model. Remember, it's also us. So these are ways in which you can harness. We can model them. We can show them what is creative thinking, the way we design our physics experiment, the way we come with our composition. If we are innovative, they learn from us. We can connect our concepts to real life so that when you connect to real life, I'm talking about energy saving, and I tell them, can you bring your bills from home? We see how much you're spending. Now, this week, I want you to continue putting off the lights when you don't use them. Then can you monitor the meter? How much are you saving? So when we are connecting to life, that comes in. We can use simulation and can use the technology for them to see collaboration, communication, technology integration. So ladies and gentlemen, there is a reason why core competencies are there, because they allow students to build character, cultivate compassion and empathy, which are crucial as social collaborative beings. And these skills ensure that learners grow up and they are ethical, they have integrity, so that they can collaborate and function well with others, and thereby create a better future. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I'm coming to the end of this session, I know because of 1 hour, I made it informational instead of interactive, but I would like to summarize that in this session today, I addressed prevailing issue. I looked at trends in education. I looked at deep learning. And finally, I looked at connecting to life. This is a justification why we need core skills. It's beyond deep learning. It has other elements, as you can see. Deep learning is a quarter of that. So that is the summary. And when I'm invited next session, I have a whole other session of what are these core skills. I can unpack them, and I have a whole other session of how to enhance them. How does it happen in class? So Joel and Felix, if you give me another opportunity next time, I'll be glad to unpack this session. I'd like to thank you, and over to you, Joel.
Wow, that's so great and wonderful, Dr. That seems a present for us Christians. For Christians are given a present for Easter, I can say. Thank you so much, Dr. for the wonderful presentation. And as people are putting it on the chat, their comments coming. Immaculate is saying awesome and great presentation. Julius is saying I've really enjoyed the session. Nora saying thank you, Dr. Kindly share with us the presentation. So all
Joel,
those comments, yes.
Joel will have the presentation. Don't worry, you'll get it from Joel.
Okay, thank you. So as those comments keep trickling, maybe if you have a question, you can as well put it on the chat. You shall pick like 2 or 3 questions. You can also unmute your mic and ask the questions. Yeah, we are giving 2 people to ask questions. But meanwhile, I want to welcome Felix Malombe to say a word. Felix is in the room, and Felix is also one of the leaders who coordinates what we do at STEAM Labs Africa. Felix, if you can hear me, please.
All right, thank you. Hey, Daktari, for the first time since I was born, let me be frank with you. People sometimes think I'm learned, but for the first time since I was born, for the first time, I have learned why we talk about 21st century skills, why we talk about core competence for the first time. And I am confessing this from my heart. It is only you that has actually brought this to me. I have read, I have done my master's, I've done all these things, but no one has ever told me what are these global competencies, the core competencies, the common core standards. No one has ever told me. And no, I've never read anywhere. I think when I go just ask ChatGPT, what are the core competencies? No one. I've never even asked ChatGPT, who created them. I just go on and on. And today, in the 4 areas that you've led us with, I have come to understand this comes from the prevailing areas, the prevailing emerging trends, the education trends, the deep learning, and finally the application and connection to the world of work or the world that we live in today. And what such a moment. I feel I never even thought that this will come to something like this. And I just want to take this opportunity and request all the members, you can go to the reactions and just clap for Daktari mwenyewe, our leader. Daktari, would you allow me to reach out to you and ask you to supervise my project, because you're going to see your skills applied. Like us go to the reaction. Yes, let's go react and just clap for our leader. Thank you very much, Daktari. That was wonderful. There is this guy who says phantasmagorious. I don't know what that means, but I just want to say thank you very much for such an insightful, I say here people will say foresightful session there. And I'm very sure that as we go on, we're going to have more of this. You know, we have set up what we are calling the transforming education series. And, you know, one of the ways that we are saying we want it to happen is, you know, through these sessions. The last session that Joel took us through was basic education. And why we are talking about basic education changes and curriculum reforms. You took it up from there, and now you brought the core competencies introduction, the why, and now you're going to be taking us in the next Saturday, a fortnight from now, through the next step. How and what are they? We can't wait for that session. And I just want to say thank you. These things, when you do these things, you are like TDJs. You are paid 80,000 for every attendance. So let's do some math here. So there are 50 people here. 50, they were 50 when the highest was 55, but 50 people times 80,000. That is the money that you deserve because of the impact that you're putting out there in the community. May God bless you.
And I'd like to thank those who are attending from overseas because they are following my Facebook post. Thank you very much, alumni of Aga Khan University and all the people there. Let's change this world. We are few, but we can make it.
One student at a time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you and all the attendees. God bless you. Nice, happy Easter. Back to you, Mr. Joel.
Right, so we can have our cameras on for a photo. Just take a photo for yourself. Maybe we can use this 1-2 minutes to do that. It's a privilege we have with Daktari.
I think Daktari is still sharing his screen. If I'm not very sure.
Oh, sorry. I've stopped sharing. I want to see those photos.
Yeah, just take a good photo from your side and tell the world that learning continues, and indeed you are a lifelong learner. This is one. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm not seeing any person with a hand up. Oh, Hadija.
Joel, my hand has been up for so long.
Okay, sorry.
Khadija.
It's okay. Thank you, Daktari. It was such a wonderful presentation. I don't have a question, but rather a comment. The slides were so beautiful, and since we are becoming 21st century teachers, we need to learn how to make such wonderful slides.
I have taken 30 years to reach there.
Okay.
So you are lucky, you'll take a shorter time.
All right, thank you so much. Can we have a volunteer to give us a short prayer as there's a hand from Grace. Maybe this could be the last hand, Grace.
And Julius Deche also has a hand up.
And Julius, yeah. Grace, you can go first. Okay, Julius, then take over.
Okay, thank you so much. Doctor, actually, you have said it, and usually I don't finish the session, but today I feel even there should be more time. At least you give us you continue with the session. It was so nice, so wonderful, and I've learned a lot from the 7 core competencies. Actually, myself, I've been a facilitator for the last 5 years or so. And the way you have done it, actually, I've learned a lot. I wish you could have done it before, so that at least by the time I was rendering, I was facilitating. I could have exhausted what you have said it. May God bless you, and I thank you a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Julius. Grace. Oh, Grace is Grace here. I saw Grace raising her hand.
Felix, maybe you can also ask somebody from the diaspora. People from Dar es Salaam who have joined, they can say something.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. We want to hear everybody. Anybody from Dar es Salaam? Anybody from
I am
Kampala?
from Dar es Salaam. I'm
Karibu
currently in
sana.
Dar es
Hey, was welcome.
I also had a chance to attend the 4th regional conference at the Aga Khan University. And Dr. Maina had a wonderful presentation too. So I'm looking forward to more sessions.
Thank you. Thank you. We want other people to join the STEM Lab series of workshops across the world. It's no longer a Kenyan affair.
I have a colleague with me here from Tanzania. He's called Prosper. Let him say something.
Prosper.
Yeah, how are you, brother?
Yeah.
Doctor.
Fine, thank you.
Doctor, it was such a wonderful session. I remember the ChatGPT presentations at AKU. They were really fine.
Okay.
I wish I could have those slides.
Yeah, you'll get them from Joel. The organizers will have all the slides, don't worry.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Prosper. Felix, do you have anything to say?
I am, it's too much. I need to just go and chillax. Thank you.
Okay, let's get a volunteer to give us some prayer as we are just about to retire and relax. The weekend is still on, and we are almost enjoying. This was a package, a gift package from Dr. So to say. Any volunteer to pray here, please?
Let us pray.
Okay.
Father, in the mighty name of Jesus, we are before thy presence this night, King of glory. We thank you for the knowledge that we have gained, King of Kings, and we pray, Father, that you are going to bless us. We will not sit on the acquired knowledge, and we will spread it to our colleagues to improve the learning of the learners that are with us, and also we spread the same to our colleagues so that the information can spread to the others. As we retire to bed, Lord, may you bless us. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray, trust, and believe.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank
Amen.
you.
Amen.
Bye.
Amen.
Amen.